windows darked by never-opened thick curtains, so I have to steal candles to read there, and afterwards scrape their guilty drippery from the floor. From one end to the other is 104 of my shoed feet, and 37 wide. 3 men could stand one upon the other and scarce touch the ceiling. Every inch of wall, aside from the door, the curtain windows, and their window seats, is wooden shelving, from floor to ceiling, all fully booked. No maid ever ventures here. The floors are left unbroomed, for unfootfalled as they are, what would be the point? The shelves go unfingerprinted, the wheeled ladders to the upper ones unmoved, the books upon them yearning for an opening, the whole place a dustry of disregard. It has always been so, apart from the governess times, of which more anon, leastways as far as I remember, for I first made my way here a third of my lifetime ago, when I was 8. We were then still ungovernessed, because Giles, who is some 3 years my junior, the one the teaching's for, was considered too young for school, or indeed any kind of learning, and we were hide-and-seeking one day when I opened a strange door, one that hitherto had always been locked, or so I had thought, probably on account of its stiffness, which my younger self could not manage, to refuge from him there, and discovered this great treasury of words. The game was straightway forgotten. I shelved to shelf, extracting book after book, the opening of each a sneezery of dust. Of course I could not then read, yet that somehow wondered me even more. All these thousands, millions more like, of coded lines of undecipherable print. Many books were illustrated, wood-cutted and color-plated, a frustratory of captions beneath, every one of which taught me the miserable impotence of finger tracery. Later, after I had been scolded for going missing for so long that Mrs. Grouse had everyone searching for me, not only all the maids, but Flowery Meg and John, too, I asked Mrs. Grouse if she would teach me to read. I instincted not to mention the library, and it feared me quite when she gave me a quizzical look and said, "Now, Missy, what in the world has made you think of that?" It was one of those questions it's best not to answer, for if you keep quiet, grown-ups will always go on to something else. They lack the persistence of children. She deep-breathed in and long-sighed it out.
"The truth is, Miss Florence, that I'm not exactly sure your uncle would want that. He has made clear to me his views on the education of young women. I think he would say that this was not the time."
"But please, Mrs. Grouse, he wouldn't have to know. I wouldn't tell a soul, and if he should visit unexpectedly, I would hide my book behind my back and stuff it under the cushions of the chair. You could teach me in your sitting room. Even the servants need not know." She laughed, and then serious again. She lined her brow.
"I'm sorry, Miss Florence. I wish I could. I really do. But it's more than my job's worth."
She got her mouth into a smile, something it was always ready to do.
"But I tell you what, there's a little housekeeping left this month, maybe enough for a new doll. Now, young lady, what say you to a new doll?"
I said yes to the doll. It was better to appear bought off. But her refusal to help me, far from discouraging me, opposited, and merely stubborned my resolve. Slowly, and with some difficulty, I taught myself to read. I lingered the kitchen and stole letters from John when he was reading the newspaper. I would point to an S or a B and ask him to tell me its sound. One day in the library, I fortuned upon a child's primer, and from that, and from here and there, I eventually broke the code. So began the sneakery of my life. In those early days, Giles and I were let wild. Much the day we could play as we liked. We had only 2 restrictions. One was to avoid the old well.